Welcome to Women of Wellness with Bryche, a podcast dedicated to nurturing the mind, body, and soul. This is a space where we dive into the heart of women's well-being, exploring the physical, emotional, and mental aspects of health that not only shape women's lives, but ripple out to touch everyone around them. Because here's the truth. When women thrive, families grow stronger, communities flourish, and the world changes for the better. Women's wellness isn't just a woman's issue, it's a human issue. And in order to start creating real change, we all need to understand the unique challenges women face and how we can support each other in meaningful ways. Join me, Bryche Taylor, each week as we unpack powerful insights, share inspiring stories, and learn practical tools to empower women to live their fullest, healthiest lives. Together, let's break down barriers, redefine wellness, and create a world where women's health is prioritized, not just for their benefit, but for everyone's. So whether you're a woman on your own wellness journey or someone who wants to better support the women in your life, this podcast is for you. Let's create change together. Okay, so I'm here today with Tara Mullin. She's a certified personal trainer with a Bachelor of Science in Health Science and Physiology. She's passionate about helping women break free from restrictive dieting and build strength, both physically and mentally. So we love that here. With years of experience in strength training and behavioral coaching, very interesting. She's worked with hundreds of clients online and in person to achieve sustainable weight loss by addressing not just exercise, but the psychology behind weight gain and habit formation. She loves helping women challenge their limiting beliefs, build confidence in the gym, and develop a realistic, enjoyable approach to long-term fitness. So this is great. Hi, Tara. Welcome.
Hello, Brie.
For joining me. So a little bit just to give everyone a background, everyone that I interview, I usually know them personally, and I don't refer anybody to anybody that I know or any group, anything, unless I've actually experienced something with them. So with Tara, I've trained with her before. She's amazing. But more than that, for me, it's about just the underlying psychology stuff about weight gain and everything like that I really respect about you. And I'm so excited to interview you.
Thank you for having me. And I'm from the west coast of Ireland, so my accent should be a little more mild. So hopefully none of your listeners struggle.
So tell us a little bit about your journey, from being from Ireland and then coming here, being a personal trainer. What kind of inspires you to pursue that path?
Well, I am going to say, I feel like it was just like a bunch of little different steps that I took in my life that kind of led me to this. I'm not going to say that I was 8 years old and I had a purpose in my life to be a personal trainer. That's not really how it went. I was born in America, and then my parents are Irish, so they brought us back to Ireland, and I grew up there. And I actually wanted to be a home economics teacher. I don't know what that's called here. Is that the same thing? Hey. Yeah, so I wanted to be a home ec teacher. Just the way the school system works in Ireland, it's all a point system, and I ended up being like 20 points short. So I chose a course called Health Science and Physiology in Sligo, and I chose that with the intention of I'm interested in that. I'm interested in health and fitness. I can do that for 3 years, and I thought I'll do for my own knowledge, and then I will go back to college and I'll go be a home economics teacher. It ended up not quite working out that way. I loved the course that I did. I ended up coming to Chicago is where my first stop was. I was supposed to stay for 8 weeks for the summer with my brother, and that has just turned into I hit 10 years in April. Oh, that's this month. Yeah, so 10 years this month. And I actually started working. I stayed in Chicago for 9 months, nearly a year. And then I found myself in San Diego. I started working with an airline. And then obviously 2020, things went a little bit crazy with the airline.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a remote job working as a weight loss coach remotely. So that one was very much focusing on the psychology side of weight loss. And then that's kind of transitioned into, I took it from online to in-person training. And that's where I feel like the two kind of come together. I learned a lot of the physical side, obviously, in college. All my NASM certificates, MPTI, training I did is all physical, but it was the online stuff with the psychology behind weight loss and weight gain. I really, 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 really learned a lot from that. And I think it's really important to mix those two together.
Yeah. Hands-on stuff. I totally agree, because you learn so much more from your clients day to day and what they're experiencing and feedback. A book can teach you the logistics and the basics, but at the end of the day, the practical and applying it to someone is huge. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what does a typical day look like for you? So how has your coaching kind of evolved over the years? I mean, we hear the story of you, getting to the online stuff with COVID, but then kind of where are you at now? And what does that, like, your day-to-day sort of?
And my day-to-day right now is, my day-to-day changes a little bit, but for the most part, I have morning stuff going on every morning. A lot of people like to work out before work, or I work in a gym. I do group fitness. So I'm usually up at like between 4 and 5 a.m. To set up the gym for group fitness, or else I have my one-on-one clients. I travel. Some of them I travel to their houses. Some of them meet me in the gym and I train them in the gym. Then I usually have a handful of online clients right now. I like to kind of keep it at a small group of clients so that I can give them enough of my time and we can make sure that it's super personalized to them. I don't give anybody like a cookie cutter program. So I have about 10 online clients roughly right now. So usually I have check-ins with them, or like I need to kind of check in and see what's going on with them and stuff. Middle of the day, I try to look after myself then. That's like my little moment. Yeah, I like to still go to the gym and stuff. And then usually in the evening times, again, it's mostly one-on-one clients, or it is group fitness classes. On a Wednesday night, actually, I have a lot of the Irish in, and that's the classes that you popped into me as well for.
Yes.
It's a little bit more like sports specific stuff. So like we call it athletic performance enhancement, but it's a little bit more like pairing the plyo training with the strength training and stuff. So usually I have something like that going on in the evenings. I train the football girls and stuff. So that's kind of what my day looks like. There's no complete set structure routine, but I tend to flow through those three things: one-on-one, online, group fitness, and then my own stuff, looking after myself.
Well, and I think when you love what you do, it ends up being your life, and people are like, oh, you work so much, or I get that all the time, but I'm like, yeah, but I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy getting information out there. I enjoy treating clients. So, I mean, when it becomes part of your everyday life, that means you love it, which that's the best way to help people, is when you love what you're doing, right? Especially
for sure.
What we're in. So some of the stuff we've talked about before is like sustainable habits. And, what are some common misconceptions people have around habit building?
Oh, around habit building. Let me think. I feel like everyone's heard the little myth of like it takes. Well, so first of all, like, let's say, what is a habit? A habit is something that you do unconsciously, like without thinking about it. Like, you don't actively have to think about like setting an alarm on your phone to wash your teeth. Like, it's a hiding that you do it. There's like little habits that we do. Like, I bet if you check in with yourself, you start thinking about it, you're going to put on the same shoe every time. You're either going to put on your left shoe or your right shoe, Nick. I'm going to say most of the time you pop on that same shoe all the time. It's a habit. You do not think about it. So that's just to kind of clarify what a habit is, really. But myths are like, I would think that there's that one that it takes 21 days to build a habit. I don't know where it came from. Maybe there was a study done on it, and like, I don't know, but
people ran with it.
Yeah, somebody ran with it. It's not 100% accurate. It completely depends on the person. It can take a little bit less, or it could literally take over 200 days. Like,
depending.
Yeah, it can take some time. So I feel like that's something that people kind of think about habits. I think also that a lot of people think that you have to be perfect with it. That like if you do something 20 days in a row and then you don't do it for 5 days,
that you're failing.
You're failing. It's not a habit. You've fallen out of it. Like, that's not true. You don't have to be perfect. Right. You're trying to just be consistent with it. And then let me think what else. I feel like a lot of people feel that your habit change has to be huge. Like, you know what? I've decided I'm going to start running. So let's do marathon. Guy, how about we just start, like, what's your daily step count right now? And like, 2,000 steps. I'm like, okay, a marathon is pretty tough. Like, I think they think it has to be this huge thing, but it doesn't. A habit can be something so small and you can kind of build on it.
So how do you guide your clients through kind of that up and down of habit setting and because I know obviously they come to you, let's say they're just starting out and they're either getting back, because most of my clients I see, they're either plateaued or they're just kickstarting, they're coming off an injury. Like there's so many variables, but ultimately they're coming to you to start setting new habits and goals. So how do you kind of guide them through all of that?
We kind of like have our chats of like, what do you want and what is your big goal? And I feel like kind of goals and habits sometimes can, go a little bit hand in hand. Like, what is your goal? What do you actually want to accomplish? And usually that's quite big. And we kind of break it down. We nearly take this big piece and we break it down till we can start with something small. Like, let's say your habit is, you want to lose weight, but you don't know what you're eating. You don't know your calories. You don't eat any breakfast. Like, let's say that's where we want to start with. Okay, like out of all these different things that you said, what's the most important aspect that you'd like to work on right now? And what do you think is the most thing you can achieve? But do you have X, Y, Z, you have so many things that you need to do or that you would like to do. What's one thing that you think that you can really accomplish? And they're like, I think I could start eating breakfast. And it's like, okay, cool. Let's like break that down. How can we break that down as eating breakfast into like, let's make it a habit. What are you going to do to make sure that you eat breakfast? Like, what is going to be a habit can be built if you have a cue, then you do the action and you get a reward. So like, what is your cue for that habit? What's going to cue you to eat breakfast? Because let's say right now you're saying you don't eat it because you wake up in the morning, you're too busy to eat it.
Yeah, you just go. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I pulled breakfast out of it. But anyway, like
a lot of people skip breakfast. They do. It's just.
A lot of people skip breakfast.
Yeah, it's the thing. Well, I mean, the intermittent fasting thing is common.
Yeah.
But, I kind of have mixed feelings on that because, for myself, I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is insulin resistance. And so if I don't eat breakfast or have some kind of shake or something, like I drop, like it's not good. So it's not for everybody, and so it is important, to get that in the morning. And I feel like you said, I have clients, I'm like, just, can you give up soda? Like, just, can we start with that? Because, right, there's the goal and then there's what are the steps to get there. So
okay, so we could literally take soda there. Like that, if that's, I was like, what is the most important thing to you? And they're like, oh, I know I need to give up soda, but like, I have it all the time. And I'm like, well, why do you have it? And they're like, oh, it's just a habit. I'm like, okay, cool. We already have a habit there. Let's replace it. So like, it's nearly like that soda is a habit for something. Sometimes maybe people need the caffeine or they need the little sugar rush because they're not fueling themselves properly. Or sometimes it's just, I don't know, a habit. Like I walk past the fridge and I just pick it out and I drink it. And it could be something as simple as, right, let's work on that habit. Replace it. Put a bit of sparkling water in there or something. Like maybe the habit is that you just need to crack something or you just need to hold something in your hand. Or every time you find yourself opening the fridge and there's no sodas there because you've taken them away, what can you replace? You can do a new habit there. Like let's start working on something.
Sparkling water or something. Yeah.
Or just something like, I don't know, you look in the fridge and you're like, oh my God, I was just going to go get a Coke and sit down for 10 minutes just to drink it. Like, no, now let's replace that habit. Let's go for like 10 minutes, go sit outside in the sun. I don't know, whatever is something that's realistic to them. I think that's usually where I go with it. Is like, there's no point in me telling them like, no more Diet Coke or no more Coke. You're going to drink sparkling water. They're like, I hate it.
But then they feel bad about like failing on it. If they do,
exactly.
That's not what your job is or what we're here to do. We're not here to guilt you. Yeah, exactly.
No. And we're here to kind of set up, like, what is the most sustainable thing that you can do? Like, what is something that you think you will achieve? Like, we want to set people up in like tiny steps, and everyone should be thinking this for themselves. Small little steps that they know that they can do, like they know they can reach, put a little bit of effort into it. And then that's like rewarding every time you're like, I did it. And you're proving to yourself, I can do this. I can make changes. And then you build. And that's how you start making your habits bigger. And that's why we like to start small.
I love it. So, okay. So this kind of parlays into exercise. Obviously, creating an exercise routine and habit is really important and just showing up for yourself. But, you've said exercise is so much more than just losing weight. So do you want to kind of dive into that philosophy?
I feel like a lot of people use exercise as punishment. Like they use it as a exercise for weight loss. And that's where I'm kind of like, can exercise help aid weight loss? Of course. But is exercise for weight loss? Like, No. Honestly, your diet is the biggest thing there. Like there's so much more to exercise. Like if you feel like you're constantly like you're going for runs because you're trying to burn calories, because you're trying to lose weight, it all feels so, do you like running? It's like, no, I don't. You know, it feels sometimes it can be like such a punishment. If you kind of start to switch like how you think about exercise rather than using it to undo something or to, I don't know, when you like view in a negative way, think about like all the positives that it brings. Like take away the weight loss thing from it. I'm like, exercise, like strength training, what is that? That's going to massively, you're going to build muscle. What does muscle do? Muscle is going to strengthen your bones. It has with bone density. It's going to improve your quality of life. Like overall, like we are all aging, whether we like it or not. And I'm like, do the groundwork. Yeah, do the groundwork now and don't wait until you're in your like 60s, 70s, 80s and, you know, really struggle. Then we can just start putting in that foundation now for that quality of life. The fitter you are and the stronger you are, the longer you're going to be able to get up and down off the ground and play with your grandkids, the longer that you're going to be able to get yourself in and out of the bed, go up and down stairs. I think for me, like when I'm in the gym strength training, I honestly feel like that's when I feel the most confident in my own body. And it's nothing to do with how it looks. It's everything to do with how it feels when I can pick up a heavy weight and put it back down. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Especially as a woman, right? It's like, you know, to have that strength. It's like, I remember, you know, Sean, my partner, took me for this crazy run when I was in Ireland, and it was crazy hill. And he's like, oh, your legs are going to kill. And I'm like, no, they're not. Yeah, you get, I sculpt like 1,000 times a week. And they're like, fine, and your legs are going to be sore. So our legs are going to kill. It does feel good, you know, it feels good. So I was going to say, like, even a benefit that people don't think of is like your mood, your confidence. Like there's so much physiological stuff that's happening. Like if you're exercising, think of like your heart's going to last longer. If you're going to ward off like chronic diseases and things. So that's kind of where, when I say like exercise don't use it for weight loss, use it for everything else that's going to make the quality of your life better. Yeah. Endorphin release also, right?
Endorphins, yeah.
Something good about it. And that's, you know, I will say from my journey, I've always worked out my whole life and played volleyball and whatever, but starting like in the gym, weight loss stuff and all of that about 1.5 years ago, and losing like maybe 2 pounds a month and not really focusing on that and just feeling stronger. And I feel like it did take a good 6 months for me to feel confident saying, oh no, this is my life now. Like this is my lifestyle. This is my habit. Right. So,
Exactly.
as women, you know, being more on the menopause side of things, we lose we lose muscle mass from like in our 30s, like 3 to 8%. And then it gets even worse as we get older. So building muscle and eating protein and all that for women, especially perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. I mean, you start worrying. I know my mom, she makes this joke. She's 71. She says she's cramming for her finals, but like she danced her whole life. And, you know, I really encourage her to do weights and stuff, because if she does have a fall or something, she will recover so much faster. And that's the goal. That should be the goal. I don't want to end up in the hospital when I'm in my 70s and 80s. I want to be like active and live out a long life, but in a healthy way, not in a picture.
Exactly.
You know, so
exactly. And it kind of comes like, maybe it sounds a little bit, I don't know, a little bit darker, a little bit grim, but even like the thoughts of like, you know, do you want to be able to like sit down and stand up from the toilet yourself, or do you gonna have to have somebody in there to help you? And it kind of, balance is a huge thing with strength training. Like strength training improves your balance so much, especially when you're doing like some of that single leg stuff and being able to transfer weight from one side to the other. And balance as you age can be a matter of like life or death, honestly.
yes.
Like it's super, super important. So yeah, there's, I mean, so many. I feel like the list of pros to strength training is just so long.
It's huge. There's a lot more research now, but you know, I mean, obviously with women in general, we've always had this skinny mentality, right? And we've talked about that. And I always say, and when I post all my workouts and stuff, I'm like strong over skinny, but I even still struggle with it sometimes. You know, I was telling you before, I up my weights and then I feel I've gained like 3 to 5 pounds. And I'm like, oh my God, because I've worked so hard to get that weight off. But but I'm getting, more muscle. But women are worried about getting bulky. And I think that's a misconception. What's your opinion on that?
That is a misconception. So as somebody who's trying to put on muscle mass, it's so hard. It's so hard. I don't think that a lot of people realize, or women, how much you need to eat to actually put on or to build muscle and get that. If it was easy to get that bulky look, it'd be happy days. It's actually really, really hard to build that amount of muscle. And it's, it's not just women. I feel like on the men's side, it's funny, the leg days, women love them. The upper body days, men love them. And that's just kind of the trends that you see in the gym. But for the women, I always find that like the upper body days, that it's really hard to get them to try and progress their weight. And you always want to kind of be thinking about like progressive overload for your muscles to keep getting them stronger and stronger. Women don't want to do that with upper body because like, no, I'm going to get huge, I'm going to get bulky. And I'm like, if it was that easy. Bodybuilders make it, a lot of them, that's their career because it's that hard to get bulky.
Yeah, they focus. I've been around, some of my employees that train for shows and stuff, and they are like, they want to like gag at the amount of turkey and chicken they have to consume. Like they're so full. So yeah, no, and I think, if you pick up a weight, you're not going to all of a sudden be like Popeye. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to get leaner, I think.
That's the thing. And as well, that's kind of the scales is another one. Like scales and BMI can be like really funny, and they can really mess with your head because you don't see the whole picture from it. Like some people you might, if you could see them that they're super, super lean and like strong looking lean people, and they could tell you their weight and they're going to come up as obese on the BMI chart. Like on the scales, you'd be like, whoa, if I was that weight, I'd be huge. Like that's muscle. It doesn't weigh more than fat. People always say muscle weighs more than fat. It doesn't. A pound of muscle is a pound of fat. A pound is a pound. But a pound of lean muscle is so much smaller than a pound of fat. It takes up so much space. So you could be, that's why people like look lean, but they can actually like weigh a lot more than what you think they're going to weigh. So that's, the scales is a funny one. And it's one that I actually sometimes with clients, we talk about it. It's one of the first things that I check in with them is like, how do you feel about the scales? Does it impact your mood? Does it dictate like what you're going to eat that day, what's going on? And sometimes we just do not use it. We use pictures and we use like
pictures. Yeah.
We use pictures and we use a piece of clothing. And it could be something that you're like, you used to feel comfortable in and now it just feels a little bit too tight, or like you would like to feel a little bit more comfortable or more confident in it, and use that. Like, let's try that on. Let's take some pictures and let's do it again in 6 weeks and see what happens. Like there's so many other ways that you can track your progress that's not on the scales.
Well, the doctors nowadays, it's just so antiquated when you go to the doctor's office. And, when I did my interview with Dr. Chatterjee, the endocrinologist, we're obviously talking about hormones and weight and all these things. And it's, especially for women, we just are not listened to, and we're just told, oh, well, your BMI is this. I took my 10-year-old who is, my 17-year-old's very lean track star, obviously he's running constantly and he's a great weight and fitness wise. My younger one is a little stockier, he's just broader shoulders. And I'm sitting at his pediatrician, who's been our pediatrician for 17 years. And I love him to death. But he's like, in front of him, he said, well, we got to work on that BMI. I'm like, he's 10. I'm like, he hasn't even grown yet. Like, relax.
I'm not a doctor, but one thing we learned is that the BMI is not accurate in general. And it's definitely not accurate for kids. Maybe they have a kid's BMI chart, but it's usually not. Like, it doesn't take into consideration muscle mass. It literally takes in your weight and your height. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if there's somebody that's like 200 pounds, that's, clearly it's like maybe a lot more body fat than muscle. Or you have somebody that's 200-pound bodybuilder, that's their job. Like, they're absolutely ripped, big dudes. They're both going to be obese on the BMI scale.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that fair. Actually, that happened to someone very close to me, and she was super upset about it. She's like, I'm obese. And I was like, you're not. I don't think for women, I was like, I also feel like if you have like more like bigger boobs and you've got a bum and stuff, I was like, it's not taken into consideration. I think you are absolutely not obese.
Right.
Because, so I don't think it should be said when you're looking at somebody that's clearly not. It just shouldn't be brought up at all.
It shouldn't even be a thing. And so I think that kind of parlays into like the food stuff. So, we've talked about like how I think that scale and all of that stuff and the BMI and all that pressure gets into that cycle of restrictive eating versus overeating. And it's all in their mind. And many women face this. So what do you think, like this pattern is, it's very common, but what do you think that, causes that? And then how can clients or people break free from that kind of cycle?
I mean, I think what causes it is like stuff that's been drilled into us. And if I was to ask you, Brie, like you're probably going to know the answer now because you're educated on it. But if I was to say to you, right, you're gonna lose weight, how much calories do you need to eat? What would you guess?
Oh, I mean, for weight loss, I'm still learning nutrition stuff. So no, I wouldn't know. I mean, I'd say,
Well, have you heard the
1,200?
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
And like, why? Why did you pick that figure?
I think it's because when you eat under 1,200 calories, that's just, I've heard it. Like, I'm not even researched on it. Absolutely.
Yeah, so 1,200 calories is the amount of calories for a toddler. Like 1,200 calories is super, super low. So for a lot of people, or for a lot of women, it's like drilled into us. Like majority of women that aren't sure about that stuff are going to say, 1,200? Yeah. And I'm like, why? Because you've heard it. That's why it's like, of course, it's so ingrained in us, like all of this stuff. And where did that come from? We don't even know. And there's so many things about like that's been drilled into our heads from like magazines, even when we were younger, the telly. Like sometimes I look at some of those old movies that you watch and even some Friends episodes and things like that. There's stuff made about weight that you're like looking at it being like, oh my God, that's so wrong. But yeah, so I feel like we have a lot of that information in our brain, and that's what we're trying to keep up with, and that's the standard that we're holding ourselves to. So you're trying to hold yourself to a standard of like, right, well, I need to only eat 1,200 calories. A 4-year-old child should be eating 1,200 calories. And it kind of puts you into this cycle of like, it's not sustainable. And I always
end up overeating then.
Yeah, because you're starving. Like, you're starving. You can start off really strong and you can do 4 days in a row of 1,200 calories, 5 days in a row of 1,200 calories, because your motivation is high. You're determined. I'm gonna lose X amount of weight in X amount of time, and I'm gonna do it. But motivation is not always going to be there. Like your emotions are high at the start, you can stick to it, but all of that stuff starts to drop. Like motivation, willpower, it's all tied to your emotions, and it's not a consistent. Like motivation is not a consistent source. It ebbs and flows. You're holding yourself to something that's just not healthy. It's not sustainable. There's no reason why you should be eating calories that low. So your body starts to starve. You're hungry.
And this calorie deficit diets and all this, like,
yes. And then you go into that, like, right, I need to eat, give me anything. And you're going to go for whatever is there. It's going to be like, what's the foods that's convenient to grab? Like chips, like sweets, cakes, crisps, whatever is right there. Is like, you're going to be anything that's going to give you some energy. And then you overeat, and then you're like, right, well, I'm useless. I can't do anything. Couldn't even stick to that calorie deficit. And it just starts this little cycle, this constant like restrict, binge. Whereas if you just kind of knew, like a lot of people, maybe their maintenance is 2,000 calories. And it could be like if they sat down and actually ate 2,000 calories of like a protein. Women are notorious for not eating enough protein. So if they were to find that they were having enough protein, they were having enough whole foods, all their fruits, veggies and stuff, and their little treats that they want as well, could be at the end of the day be like, oh, I'm stuffed. And I'm like, no, you still have to have 2 more or 200 more. Keep like, it turns a lot of women out to be like, I can't eat that much food. And I'm like, there's so much food you should be eating to lose weight.
Yeah.
Instead of like restricting at this 1,200 calories. Sorry.
Is it true, like, when you do overeat? So like, let's say you do restrictive, this I have heard, that once you do overeat, then your body is going to hold on to that and store it because it's worried it's going to go into like a starvation mode again. It's almost like hibernation, right?
Yeah, I've heard that too, that your body will like store extra, like maybe it might store extra glycogen and stuff because it doesn't know when it's going to eat again. I think that I'd have to fact check that stuff before I say that. Yeah, I don't know if that is true. But the body is like, it's complicated, but it's also kind of simple thing, right? So you just want to try and eat regularly. You want to kind of eat at like regular intervals. If you're constantly giving your body like no food, and then you give it so much food, and then you give it like a little bit of food, and then no food again, it's very hard for your digestive system and everything in your body to kind of know what's going on. So I don't know. Do you know what? I'll actually fact check that one, but I do know that it's like irregular eating patterns is quite tough on your body. It's quite tough on your digestive system.
Okay.
Like your hormones, your hunger hormones and stuff start to get all out of whack, and your metabolism. Yeah. So
Okay. So
you know, I'll look into it.
how do you kind of approach, among those conversations, but kind of body image with your clients, especially when they're feeling discouraged? Because body image is a lot of things that I talk about with my clients. And so I'd be so curious to hear how you kind of go about it with your clients.
So body image, I do feel like it's such a personal topic, right? Like, and I feel like sometimes when clients like fully open up to me about how they're truly feeling, it's sad. And it's like all of this stuff that we're so conditioned to. Again, it goes back to like the calorie thing. We're so conditioned to like looking at these images now with like social media and stuff, these images that like are edited and not real, and we feel like we should be looking like them. And I think that this is something that's so deep in women. Like I'm a trainer, and I find that I have moments where I'm like struggling with it because my body doesn't look like the fitness trainers online, or I don't look like I'm super petite, super straight. Like I'm not, curvy and everything. That's like the desired figure and stuff. So I think we're all of us have a little bit of that in us. And I think that for people that don't like have probably done a lot of work to not feel that way. As a trainer approaching it, sometimes I make them be like, look, where's the evidence for that? Like this, like, let's say, especially after this, like, change at the start, like what you were saying there for when you started lifting weights, you're like, oh, the scales is going up. And like your evidence there was like, you're like, oh, I don't like my body. I look like this. I'm getting like the scales isn't getting bigger. And I'd like, okay, well, let's take a little look at your before pictures. Like, how do your clothes fit? How is your energy? What are the good things? And you kind of ask for the evidence of what they're saying, because usually you can prove them wrong, because we're such harsh critics of ourselves that honestly, like, you looking at them, you don't see anything that they're pointing out. You don't see the negatives and stuff, and you can prove them wrong a lot of stuff. You're like, no, look at all the positives. But I do think when it comes to body image, a lot of it is just mindset. It's like working on those like negative thoughts and like catching them when they happen and being like, no, stop, that is not true. You can always ask yourself for the evidence. That's one thing that I always be like, where's the evidence of that? Can you prove that?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is kind of like about that self-talk of like, all right, would you say that to your friend? And then if they're like, no, I would never say that to my friend. I'm like, why? And they're, because that would be so mean. And it's not true. So why are you saying it to yourself?
Yourself, yeah. Or your daughter, or yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that is another thing. If you have young girls coming up underneath you, like your daughters, and you're trying to raise them, be so mindful about how you speak about yourself, because that is also something that's super ingrained in us. Like now, us as adults, like, did we hear our own mothers say stuff as we were growing up? Like, I think for my mom's era, like, it was skinny, 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 you know? I'm not saying that she told us to be skinny, but...
No, but she was pushing pressure on herself, absolutely.
But that was just at her generation. Like, that era was like the aerobics era, like, be skinny, right? It was about being really skinny. So I think that a lot of us are kind of conditioned to that, and that's where that 1,200 calories, be skinny, look a certain way comes in. Yeah, so... I mean, I kind of just fluffed through the answer a little bit, but I do find that body image is super, super personal. I do my best to coach them out of it and to try and help them see themselves how other people see them, because we are literally our own worst critics. We're so harsh. And I think that, like I said, we're all so guilty of it. And I think I know how that feels, so I don't ever want other people to feel that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've treated thousands of clients, and I always tell, I have clients, obviously they have to be in a bra and underwear to be treated by me with the lights and stuff. And it's like, they're always apologizing to me for how they look. And that like breaks my heart. 'Cause like, first of all, I'm so tuned out of that. Like I've been doing it for so many years. I don't even look at it the same, or a body the same, but I'm always like, oh my gosh, I have the one compliment rule. So I teach all my employees that it doesn't matter if this person's going to stay with us long term, or they're going to buy or they're not going to buy, but you have them for that one moment. You have a chance to pay them a compliment, whether it's their eyes or their hair or their strong arms. Or so I always have the one compliment rule to like shift their mindsets. But I love that what you said about evidence. Where's the evidence in that? Because it's factual, right? They can grab on to that. That's really cool. So I think we have a long way to go in helping women with their body image, but people like yourself or like me that are really caring about that at the core, as opposed to, let's get you into a size 4 for your vacation. I have tons of clients. Like April, I start getting busy because people have gone on spring break with their kids, and then they are like, I don't want to look like that in June. And I'm like, listen, this isn't, I say light is a lifestyle, just like fitness is a lifestyle, right? So yeah, no, I love that. I'm going to use that evidence bait. Like, where's the evidence on that? Where's the fact?
Because people say such rubbish things about themselves, and you're like, not true.
That's not true. Exactly. Especially women. We have to support each other. There's the subconscious mind, which if they come to you consistently for training, that slowly starts to change because you care, right? And you're going to constantly battle that, ask them where the evidence is. And then that retrains their brain and their subconscious mind to hopefully have a better body image. So, it's that little bit at a time. So, okay. So what is the biggest difference between coaching in person versus online? And do you prefer one over the other, or what do you get from either or?
I am a super extroverted person, so I enjoy the in-person. I enjoy being in person with people and training them. And I find that my in-person clients, that's where it's like really exciting, where I get to see them progress in their weights. I'm such a loser. I love when I see people like, I'm like, oh, and you went from 50 pounds to 70, woo! Yeah, so I find that all like really exciting, and I love being there for that. And I love like people, especially women, be like, I can't lift that. So I'm like, yes, you can. Like, yes, you can. And then they'll do it. And I'm like, see, I like that. But I feel like my online clients have been really, I have them for, usually we do 12-week blocks, and then of like 12 weeks of constant contact. And then after that, they can transition out and kind of just keep me there for accountability. But I feel like with my online clients, I really, really get into every aspect. Like in person, it's just the weightlifting. But for the online, we look at everything. We're looking at like your food intake. I can see like kind of give them more like nutritional guidance. I don't give set food plans, but I'll always give some guidance. I get to see like their workouts, and we have meetings once a week. They fill out a form and we cover everything in it, like how you're sleeping, how your energy feels, what's one win that you had this week. I love that. And their win is not allowed to be anything to do with like the scales or something. It has to be, you're not allowed to be like, my win is I'm down 2 pounds. It's not, no, it always has to be like
something different. Okay.
Yeah. And then, so they have a win, and then they always have like a strength. Where did you see your strength improve the most this week? Or what was like one exciting thing in the gym that you're really proud of for yourself and stuff? I just feel like with the online clients, I just get a bit more personal time with them. We have a face-to-face call once a week, and we get into every aspect of it. So
more coaching.
I like the balance. I do. I like the balance. I like both. But I think I really, really love the online right now, I'm going to say.
And could you do hybrid? Like if someone wanted to come to you for training, but then they still also wanted all those other things, the accountability stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can do that. So a lot of my online clients aren't in San Diego, but one of them is, two. And I train them once a week in person. And then we have the online section where they get 3 other workouts. They do 2 of them, and then 1 more is optional. So they kind of have a whole week plan, even though they're getting me once. And then I can kind of track their food. And we have our little conversations about like what goals you're going to set for the week ahead, what habits we want to work on and stuff. So yeah, we can do hybrid as well.
What do you do for food tracking? What's kind of your method in that?
So the app that I use has a food tracking source in it.
Nice.
So else we have my Fitness Pal. And I know that some people are just, the first 6 weeks, I'm like, let's just try. I know it's tedious. I know it takes time. And you have the option of like just doing cup measurements is a little bit easier always than like if you don't want to do the whole weighing out the scales. And also I'm like, this is a guideline. We don't need to get hung up on it. If you're supposed to have 150 grams of carbs and you have 153, you don't need to throw away a teaspoon of rice. Right? So we're not bodybuilders. We're just trying to get healthy. Bodybuilders maybe have to be that strict. We don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually we can do if people don't mind weighing their food, but cups is kind of the easiest way. We do it for 6 weeks, and the intention behind it is to just start to understand what your meal should look like, what portion sizes should look like. Especially here, okay, I'm from Europe, our portion sizes, I'm going to say they're normal. In America, it's huge. Their portion sizes are so big. So when you're seeing that all the time in restaurants, it can kind of get a little bit skewed of like, what does one serving mean? You know, you might see on a packet of rice, 1 serving. What does that mean? You're going to give yourself a serving size that you see in the restaurant. And that's usually like, it could be anything from like 3 to 4 servings, really. So the whole 6 weeks of measuring the food is just to kind of get an idea of what your food should look like. And we can kind of start as small, again, like habits. Let's start logging our protein choices or whatever, or like breakfast. Let's just go with that. Make sure we're getting enough protein. Okay, now you understand how much protein you should be eating. Let's start working on our carbs. So you're getting enough of that, like whatever. So it depends on the client. And that's why I'm saying I kind of like to keep it at smaller groups so that we can really make it tailored to them and we can work on everybody like one by one for whatever little points that they need help with. But yeah, then after that, we can taper off the food measuring if they feel like they have a good idea of what they should be eating and stuff.
And eyeball it. Yeah. What about like fad diets and stuff? Like, you know, obviously, I personally love just being something that's sustainable. So there's an app called Healthy with an I on the end, and it's very Weight Watchers driven, but you get a certain number of bites, and every time you work out, you get more bites, and you track you can track your proteins, and you can track your water and your vitamins, and like I like that all round kind of stuff. But you know, there are people that really do like love or want to try, or like I've had a lot of people do intermittent fasting or do, you know, keto. Keto is a big one I see, and they drop a ton of weight very quickly. But then I'm like, my question's always like, how do you get back out of that? You know, yeah, how do you sustain it? So what do you kind of see and recommend when it comes to those kinds of diets or people that want to do certain things like that?
I think I would ask them why. Like, why are they doing it that way? You never want to like undermine someone and tell them like, no, you cannot. Yeah. But like, why are you doing it? Are you doing a keto because you have, I think, this needs to be fact checked, but I think that the keto diet was developed for autistic children initially.
Possibly. Yeah, I'm not sure. Possibly.
I think initially I can help with, yeah, I'll fact check it. If no, pause. There's like little pros and cons to everything, but what is the reason behind it? If your reason behind the keto diet is weight loss, basically, if you look at all of these things, the main thing they have in common, like the intermittent fasting, keto diet, like high protein, low carb, or like no carb, whatever, they all are a deficit. Ultimately, like most of them are, you're in a calorie deficit. If you are eating less calories, then you're consuming less than you are burning. Yes.
No. Yeah, if you're consuming less,
if you're burning X amount and you're consuming more, you're in a surplus. That's a weight gain. If you're burning X amount and you're eating less, you're in a deficit and you're losing weight. A lot of those things, like intermittent fasting, narrows the window for how much food you can eat. So it tends to put you into calorie deficit. Keto is quite restrictive. So they end up kind of like generally being in a calorie deficit. So I think I would just, if they're doing it for medical reasons, then absolutely, I'm never going to interfere with a doctor who's medically doing this with them. But if their reason is weight loss, and I'm like, okay, cool, weight loss, how's it going? Do you enjoy it? Are you struggling? Do you find it hard?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we don't have to do that. You can eat every food group and lose weight, and not stand at a party at someone's barbecue wondering what the hell you're going to eat, or like being hungry but you can't eat for another 2 hours or something like that. You know, that's my approach to it.
Too many rules they can't follow. Like, that's how I feel. I just really like to make healthy choices, you know, and try and, you know, there's obviously, once you hit like the perimenopause stuff, there's a lot of supplements and things you have to take. But I mean, and the protein intake is really important. That's been a goal of mine to kind of up that. But I think just that extreme dieting, it's just not sustainable. And I'm just speaking from client experience, seeing them do it and then gain it all back. And so, the only people that I talked about this with my doctors, like, I have a client right now. She's at a risk of a heart attack. Like, it's a life or death situation. And she's going to do the GLP-1, or she started, doing the Ozempic or Mounjaro or whatever. And, I would normally not recommend that. That's not like my first go-to, but some people need to get over the hump for motivation. Like, they just need to see the weight loss, but are they unable to get off of it and then, or stop that certain diet and roll it into, normal everyday life that's sustainable over time? Right? That's the big question I think they have to ask themselves. But some people need it. Like, some people really do need the extreme because they're at risk of something serious, like that's way worse than, they need to drop the weight. So yeah, I guess it's situational, and all of that. But I think just that, like what you're saying, like just more balance, more sustainability, because like we want to enjoy our lives too. Right?
For sure. I say to my clients, I'm never going to be the coach that's going to tell you can't eat a slice of pizza again. Like, unless you're allergic to dairy and wheat, maybe then give it up. But like, I'm never going to be that coach that says that, because I think as well, and it's something that came up a lot when I worked as an online weight coach, where we did really focus on psychology. Food is like so much more than just fuel, right? Like, it's such a huge part of like just life, like celebration and community and family time and everything. So I don't ever want to coach somebody that they can't have such a thing. Like, how sad is it to go to a restaurant for your grandparents' birthdays and, you're getting less and less and less of them with them, and that you're going to sit there and you can't eat anything and you can't try the cake and you can't celebrate with them because you're trying to lose a pound that week. Like,
yeah,
I just don't think that's a nice way to live life. That's just my outlook on it. And I think that you absolutely you can still join in all those celebrations and all those moments in a balanced way if you just understand how to kind of portion out your food correctly.
Yeah. You can have that little bit of cake, but like I went for dinner last night. I took my son and his girlfriend, and it's a rare occasion. Like, it's so nice, and he's got a year left and he goes to college, and I was really enjoying it. And they're like, oh, and they're young, they want dessert. I was like, yeah, we're gonna get dessert, but I just have like a little bit of the dessert. I didn't have the whole thing, I just had a couple of bites, and like I still get to enjoy it with them and all of that. So
yeah, exactly.
That's cool. I like that.
And I think we're so conditioned to feel like that dessert is so bad. Like, even that, but you'd be like, yeah, it was like rebellious. Yeah, I'm gonna have a dessert, because it's just so in us that's like, oh no, dessert is like a bad food, or dessert is like, I can't have that. But you can if you can factor into a nice healthy diet, like exactly what you did. And I always say, sometimes I have clients that like panic because not everything goes to plan. They've planned out their week's food, and something happened. They got invited to a birthday party and they had a bit of cake and they're panicking. And I'm like, if someone was obese and they ate a salad and then asked you why are they not like skinny yet, would you think that was a bit crazy? Yeah. I'm like, so why do you think then that if you have a slice of cake or you ate a little bit over your calories, that you're going to gain all this crazy weight? And they're like, well, when you put it like that, I'm like, yeah, I think we get so scared about, like, we're just so scared to eat. Like,
well, and the stress of it, I feel like stress and anxiety causes weight gain. Cortisol. So I heard someone online somewhere, some doctor said the stress of keeping yourself from eating the cookie is going to cause more problems for your weight than actually eating the cookie.
Yeah, and again, you're trying to test that willpower. Like, yeah, you're not going to not eat cookie. So many days go by and then you're like, whatever, I'm eating 10 cookies. Because everything, your willpower drops to everything. Whereas if you had just had a cookie, then you're like, no, my craving's satisfied. And then 2 days later, you're like, well, actually, I only feel like half a cookie, as opposed to just being like trying to take it away from yourself all the time. But yeah, for sure, it can take up so much mind space and brain power and stuff that, like, so much your thoughts are consumed then about, like, don't eat the cookie that's in the press, don't eat. And of course, it's going to, like, stress you out. And then that's your cortisol gone up. And yeah, it's all a little vicious cycle.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, thank you so much for being here today. And I think we touched on a lot, especially the psychology of it. I love that part of weight loss because I think it's just not black and white. And it's tailored to every person too, which is, I love that you do that. So if someone was stuck and they're just trying to, help their body, and they want to make changes, where do you recommend that they start? And if they're to go to you, how do they get a hold of you? And for either online, if they're not in San Diego, or if they're local, what would you recommend they start with you?
Well, first of all, when you're saying like, what would you recommend if someone's feeling really stuck? I think ultimately, no matter what you're doing in life, if you were trying to start a business and you're feeling really stuck, like I don't know what to do, go find someone that does know what to do and that does know how to help you. So I would say initially, if you're feeling really stuck and you don't know where to start, reach out to somebody for help. So if that was me, if you're reaching out to me, the best way I think my social media presence is, I don't have a Facebook or anything. I just have my Instagram page.
Yeah.
That is Tara Mullin _ coaching. Or else Tara Mullin coaching at outlook.com, I believe is my email. They could just shoot me a little email, or actually I think my contact information is on my Instagram page, but they could send me like a little DM, could send me a little text. There's actually a form. If you click on my bio, there's a form that you can fill out for a free consultation. So a consultation would be just us hopping on a call and talking about it and seeing like, are we a good fit for each other? Like what their goals are. I think what they're looking for and what their goals are would determine what our next steps would be, whether it would be online, whether it would be in person. But we would just figure it out together and see what like works best and what would be the best approach for that individual.
And I'm a huge fan and advocate of coaches, and, coaches need coaches, therapists need therapists. Yeah. I mean, I work with obviously trainers for diet. I have a financial coach. Like, it is, if you can't do it all, and I think that's a huge thing for women, especially moms. We think we can do it all. And it's almost, there's shame attached to it if you can't solve it on your own. And that's not true. So we're here to support each other, and it's the best investment you could make. Like, cut back on your lattes or whatever, a night out or something, because it is something you're investing in your health, your future, everything. So, and I think you are a great woman to help, and not girl. Yeah, you graduated. Yeah. To help my clients in particular. I know that I'll be referring a ton of people to you. And, if anyone sees this that's not in San Diego, I definitely encourage you to follow her online, because she's got some great content and some great tips for you guys. So thank you so much, Tara. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Brie.